welcome to this week's episode of TulipTV. I'm Barbara Arnold, and this week we are at Victory Park, which is where the memorial is for the veterans, the Canadian veterans from World War I. We're here today because I wanted to remind you all that November 11th is the big parade and ceremony to remember all these veterans. And even though Holland was not that much involved in World War I, we certainly were in World War II and in Afghanistan, so lots of veterans to remember. Therefore, please come over to this park on November the 11th at 10:45, and it's on the corner of West Hastings and Canby. Here's what's coming up this week on TulipTV.
This program is sponsored by Dutch, the full-color English language magazine about the Netherlands and its people, at home and abroad. Canada to Live is the online community for the Dutch living in Canada and the Canadians living in the Netherlands. Canada to Live, wherever you live.
My name is Eric Voogt, and I started in the greenhouse business for myself in 1981, and our operation is in South Langley, and so we have been selling flowers here since 1981. And so we grow a whole variety of pot plants, from the exotic tropicals to bedding plants to Easter lilies to all kinds of different products that are being used in the floral trade. I myself immigrated in 1970, and I started out in Ontario. And in 1977 I moved out west and started working for a big grower here on the west coast. And then in 1981 we started our own company in South Langley. Growing up in Holland, my dad had greenhouses, so he was a vegetable grower in the south of Holland and one of the islands. And so when I grew up, actually I became a cabinet maker in Holland, and when I moved out I couldn't really find work as a cabinet maker, and then I started back in the greenhouses working for other people because that's something I knew. And then after that I went to Niagara College night school and followed courses at the University of Guelph, and sort of went, climbed the ladder, so to speak, till we made the big move to go on our own. Alright, so the auction here was started in 1964, obviously at another place. So we have been an auction, a vital auction, for the last, 50 years. So today we still are quite active in terms of the horticultural business. And we have auctions here on Monday morning, Tuesday morning and Thursday mornings. And so we as growers bring our product here from our greenhouses, obviously, and then there's buyers showing up to watch the clock happening and spin backwards. And the reason that the auctions start early is so that the florists can get back to their stores and be open in time for their customers. So it is strictly wholesale, and the auction business is strictly wholesale. So it's not open to the public for buying. That's where we hope that they go to the florist and the garden centers and buy their products right there. So the buyers here are actually from all over, so mainly the florists from Vancouver area, and also small wholesalers, as well as people from Edmonton and Calgary and Winnipeg also buy online here at the auction, at the live auction. Most of the flowers, of course, here are homegrown. There is a segment of imports that are not being grown locally, so the auction will also bring those in for the trade and for the florists. So most of the growers are from like Dutch heritage, or at least 75% of them. And the buyers are from all over. So we have from Chinese descent, from anywhere around the globe. So Vancouver is a very international city. And obviously the floral trade is big in a lot of different countries. And so it's been very good for the trade. So it's Vancouver is a big flower city.
Hello, I'm Fritz from Frika Flowers in Rosedale, near Chilliwack. We are a cut flower producer, mainly calla lilies, tulips, irises and peonies. The different groups of customers we have, a lot of them goes now to box stores and end up in average families' homes. There's different cultures with different backgrounds. For example, the Asian people, they like flowers who don't last that long, especially if you give them to people who are ill. Then if you give a flower that goes dead pretty soon, you basically wish them well in a short time. If you give a flower that lasts really long, then it's sort of not a really good thing. And there's also a little bit of superstition, dried peonies above the doorway is good luck for Chinese. And yeah, everything has a little bit of every product has their own unique market. Tulips is well liked by everybody, but the Dutch like to have a bouquet of tulips on the table every weekend to have a little bit of at home kind of thing. Several years ago, we also started a Yuppie garden at our home base. We might expand to different locations. We started with tulips. It was a tulip mania. It was raising funds for the Cancer Foundation and hospice, and it expanded into Yuppie garden for the whole summer. And all variety of flowers, you can pick your own if you just like to go out in the garden and pick your own stuff. It's a great family outing and experience.
This program is sponsored by Dutch, the full-color English language magazine about the Netherlands and its people, at home and abroad.
Have you ever dreamed of working in the television industry? Why not become an intern for TulipTV? For more information, please visit tuliptv.com and see the contact page. We look forward to working with you.
So here, this is one of our products too. So this is a new, what they call it, the goji berry. It's a very healthy berry with a lot of antioxidants. So we kind of fell into the trend of starting to grow this kind of berry, as a lot of people are going into edibles and healthy living lifestyle. So, and then here we have another heritage geranium, so which is a double one. It looks sort of like a mini rose. So actually we revived this variety from probably back to the early 1900s. So we just call it an heirloom geranium, which we introduced this year. We've come up with another agapanthus. So this one is a brand new variety that was originated in California, and it's called Queen Mum. And so far we've introduced it in the market, and with somewhat limited success, but usually when you introduce new varieties, people kind of sit on their hands initially, and then once they see it on the market for a year or two, then they start getting into buying it. So it's always difficult to introduce a new one with big volume, so we would like to sort of have to tread carefully in terms of finances as well. Well, the peak time for flowers obviously is it starts with Valentine in the new year, which of course I guess everybody buys their sweetheart some type of flower, mainly roses and other products, tulips. And then of course the next big holiday is Easter, so hydrangeas and Easter lilies and other lilies will be sold, which is big. And then for spring and Mother's Day, I mean, basically everybody's into buying plants for Mother's Day, and the variety is from here till well, till the moon, so to speak. And so our big peak of selling product is April, May, and June. And then for the rest of the year, there's some holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas is big as well. But Christmas traditionally is like a lot of poinsettias, and so limited on other plants. Most of the growers today are all Canadian, so like they're from all different backgrounds, so Dutch background, Norwegian background, Danish background, East Indian background, so like...
And they all learn from each other?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So everybody is sort of learning, and companies get bought and sold, and of course the skills get passed on to the next generation that operates the facilities.
My name is Tom Mulleder. My background is actually Austrian-Swiss. I do have a relative in Holland. That's my closest connection to the country, but I am very much aware of what goes on in Holland, having been a frequent visitor there. In my early days, the company, I call it, went to Holland at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. So I have intimate knowledge of the Dutch network, so to speak, in Canada. I work with growers. I have been involved in this business for nearly 40 years, retired for 9, but still very active, at least for another couple of years, and then I am going to retire. So I'm still very much involved in the grower community, selecting growers, soliciting growers, sometimes in saddled with the task of firing growers that are not performing to what is expected of them. That's basically what I was retained for because of my intimate knowledge. I was the CEO of this company for 32 years before I retired. What we're looking for is that the grower can work within the system, which is a Dutch auction system, and it doesn't suit everyone, that type of marketing. And it has to be, it's a process that involves making the growers familiar with the process of selling their products the Dutch auction system way. And the screening that is involved takes anywhere between 1.5 to 2 years in order to ascertain that, yes, it works for you, you have the type of product that is good for our business here. And like I say, it works for the grower. It has to work both ways, and that's a process that requires some care and some diligent work.
Of the size of the flower business in Canada and also British Columbia and this facility, the auction, I mean, the local auction here will do about 45 million in the wholesale level. But of course, there's a much bigger trade out there in the Lower Mainland and in BC and across Canada. So across Canada, at the farm gate level, it's over $1 billion that is being done in floral trade. And the industry across Canada employs over 35,000 people altogether in terms of greenhouses and florists and garden centers. So it is a fairly industrious business. And so flowers get shipped right across the country. So some things are grown here and being shipped to the prairies. Some products from Ontario come west to the prairies and as well as to BC. And of course we also have the north-south trade selling flowers from here to California. And of course we're buying also from California to use plants up here. So the Dutch auction system works on a system that works backwards. So let's say the starting price is at $10, and instead of going up like most auctions, this auction goes in reverse, so it goes down. So if there's a buyer then that finds the right level of the right price that he feels that he can afford or wants to pay, then he pushes the button on the keypad and stops the clock, and then he has the option of buying 1 or 2 or 5 or all that's available on the cart or left on the lot number.
This program is sponsored by Dutch, the full-color English language magazine about the Netherlands and its people, at home and abroad. Canada to Leave is the online community for the Dutch living in Canada and the Canadians living in the Netherlands. Canada to Leave, wherever you live.
Have you ever dreamed of working in the television industry? Why not become an intern for TulipTV? For more information, please visit TulipTV.com and see the contact page. We look forward to working with you.
Hi, my name is Ellen Dimon, and I would very much invite you into my home, and my husband's home, of course, and into our garden. We have lived here for the last 25 years and bought this little house when it was in complete chaos. We first started to fix up the house, renovate the house, and then we started the garden. It's taken us well of 25 years to get it exactly where we like, and at this point we're pretty satisfied. I think the initial idea of the garden was for me to transform it and bring in a little bit of my Dutch heritage. So the front yard has definitely those particular Dutch features that I always have admired from Dutch gardening. And then the backyard, I have changed more or less, or actually implemented sort of the cottage style gardening, because that is what the house dictated, since it is an old English cottage that was built around 1940. So at this point I would like to invite you all to come and have a look and spend a couple of minutes and have a look at my garden. So just what I want to show you as in regards to the Dutch influence of the gardening. When you go to Holland, quite a few private gardens, you see this particular look where you have boxwood beds with a center pot with annuals or roses or whatever, and some lavender. And then in Holland they use an awful lot of pebbles in their yard so that they don't have to mow the lawn. So we really don't like mowing. We like grass, but it has to be a little bigger. So this is my Dutch influence in the front yard here. My favorite shrubs are hydrangeas. When I plant hydrangeas, I'd like to plant them in a mass effort, meaning 2 or 3 together, so that you get one particular look, which is, it quiets down the garden and it gives more of a statement rather than one in blue and one in pink and one in red. It becomes a little busy. At least that is what I feel that this particular garden, this house needs, because you have to kind of build your garden towards the style and the look of your house. So I created a cottage garden with a Dutch influence. I'm a great believer in composting. I have 3 large compost bins. So we add compost every year. As a consequence, I don't have many bugs, I don't have any slugs, because everything is healthy. All right, now we are in our backyard. As you can see, again, there is a little bit of a Dutch influence here. Again, with a lot of boxwood. I have repeated a lot of my plants, as in the hydrangeas. In total, I have about 36 hydrangeas in the front and combined and in the back. They give me lots of color. We're lucky that we have good neighbors in as much as to their gardening. One of them on the left is bordered onto the creek, so I have borrowed landscape. We have removed quite a lot of large trees so that we have opened up the garden to his landscape, as I call it, borrowed landscape. So I have a feeling that we actually live in a park and we live right downtown. When there are bare spots, I have a trick, and that is to have pots on hand. So I have pots with annuals in it that come out of the greenhouse, and I put them onto little tables or pedestals just to create interest into the beds overall, so that there are no holes and big empty spaces. Well, we're standing here in front of one of my favorite perennials, which was actually introduced by Piet Oudolf in Holland, and it's called Persicaria. There are many different varieties, of course, but this is one of my favorite varieties. He has used this perennial in New York, in Chicago, in major public gardens. So this is a long bloomer. This has been in bloom since June, July, August, well into September. So fantastic perennial. Here we have the largest perennial in perennial world, which is called Joe Pieweed, and I have of course cut it up and transplanted it to other parts of the garden. Okay, what you see here was not too long ago leaf, grass, kitchen, and a little bit of compost from this compost bin, so that we throw it on here and then we fork it over. And this is since February, so this is not very long ago. And this is pure, look at it. It's black soil. I call it black gold. It's absolutely phenomenal. And this is done by worms, just wriggly worms. We are so in awe of composting every year. 40 years of gardening, 40 years of composting. Every year at the end of the year I say, how is this possible? So I'll get the buggy. So this is my composting equipment. And then I put this thing on. I just take the compost and I put the compost in my bowl and I shovel it around. And of course the sticks come and stay at the top, and I put those in a pail, right? So they all go in the pail, and then that will be discarded. In the meantime, I have beautiful black soil left. You may have wondered why I don't have too many roses. Well, roses basically here on the North Shore are not very happy, because we have a soil that just doesn't do well for roses. You have to always add lime, and a handful of lime of soil that has been here for 3 million years is just not going to work that well. You need to constantly amend, and I think that's just too much work. If you cross, of course, go to Kerrisdale or Shaughnessy, or there you'll see roses, because the soil is of a different texture and it's of a different acidic type, or not type. It's just different. It's probably more. We have more acidic soil here than you have on the other side of Vancouver. So roses aren't happy here. Well, thank you very much for having spent a couple of minutes in my garden. It's been a great pleasure, and I would say to all of you, happy composting. See you later.
This program is sponsored by Dutch, the full-color English language magazine about the Netherlands and its people, at home and abroad.
And that was it this week for TulipTV. We hope you liked this week's show, and we hope you'll follow us again next week. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, and on Facebook. And you can always write us some comments on our website as well, which is www.tuliptv.com. Also, we totally rely on sponsors like you and viewers like you, as we're independently produced. So if you like our show, please go to our website and make a donation. And remember, buy a poppy this week for the veterans. Have a great day. Tot ziens.